Hello everyone, and welcome to the Geek Speak Geek podcast. We are your hosts, Movie Master Mike.
And Tabletop Tim.
We are back and better than ever, and we are going to talk about a whole bunch of stuff today, including movie news, some fan casting of mine.
I got some board game news.
Yeah, I got some board game news. Talk about a specific board game today, and then we have a spotlight on a movie that we chose. I chose it this week in honor of Leonardo DiCaprio winning his award finally, even though last week we recorded right after that, but we'd already set a movie to do, and we didn't know he was going to win when we set that movie. So in light of that is why I chose that movie. But let's get into the movie news first off, and there's not a whole lot of movie news coming on. Like I said last time, like a lot of the news is just, look at this new set photo from next week's episode of this show, like The Flash and stuff, and it's like, that's not really news.
Really part and parcel.
Yeah, it's like, who cares? Like, we're going to see it anyway, like, next week. But there is some big news. The Ghostbusters trailer dropped.
Yeah.
And we just watched that, and it looks pretty good. I mean...
It looks good. It was pretty funny to me.
Yeah, there were some funny moments.
One thing that bothered me is that the black character is not a scientist again. Like, oh, she's a streetwise black girl. Like...
Yep.
Can we get out of this stereotype? I mean, I'm sure it'll be a funny movie, and I'm sure she'll be a valuable contribution to the Ghostbusters. We just had the most racially charged Academy Awards in history. One of the most anticipated movies of 2016 still has a black character that's just got attitude. There's no way she can be a scientist or a physicist. No, she's
Right. And like I said, I'm sure it'll work within the contents of the movie, but it's like, why couldn't you have reversed that role or made one of the scientists, like a black woman, and then like maybe the street person, like a Latino or something like that. Like change it up a little bit or anything. I mean, there's so many things you could have done if you wanted to make it more racially diverse.
Right.
Or just switch one of the roles. Like, I didn't even know most of these actresses in this movie.
Right.
I really just know, what's her name? Melissa McCarthy. That's the only one I know. And I know Chris Hemsworth is in it, and they show him once in the preview kind of kicking a thing at the door and walking in all hot and stuff. But
you know Kristen Wiig?
Kristen Wiig.
She was in Bridesmaids.
No.
She's been in a lot of stuff, Saturday Night Live.
Maybe if you show me the clip from one of those movies, I'd be like, oh, okay. Right. But like from the clips in that for Ghostbusters, I didn't really recognize her.
Well, I'm a big fan of Kristen Wiig. I think she's hilarious, so she'll do a good job with it. Yeah,
I didn't really recognize anybody else except from Chris Hemsworth and Melissa McCarthy for me. But looking at this, I now see that Sigourney Weaver is in it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Bill Murray is in it, which is pretty cool. I mean, up until, what was the actor that died from the Ghostbusters? I forget his name. He was a big, producer and stuff.
Harold Ramis.
Before he died, there was all these talks about, them getting back together for one last time, like kind of a passing of the torch type thing. And, Bill Murray, he was the reason they never made a third one. He's like, I don't want to do another one. Like, this is it. Like, I don't want to come back. And finally, right before he died, they started talking like, okay, as long as I die in the movie, then I'll do a third one.
Right.
But then when the actor actually dies, like, ooh, yeah, maybe we shouldn't do the whole me dying and becoming a ghost because this actor died and we obviously can't make him a ghost, and why would I become a ghost if he can't?
Right.
So they kind of scrapped the whole idea and just went with a whole reboot with a new cast and making it female, which I think is a good idea.
Yeah, no, I think it'll be fun, but I don't blame Bill Murray. Would you want to come back after Ghostbusters 2?
Yeah.
That movie was fucking awful.
Yeah, I mean, when I was a kid, I think I watched that one more because I think, I don't know, I don't even know why, but...
Well, it was probably because it was on HBO so much. I mean, I had my kid goggles on, too. I recently went back, a year and a half ago and started watching Ghostbusters 2, and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It's like, you just got to leave stuff like that in the past.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've gone back and seen, Voltron or Thundercats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've tried to rewatch Thundercats. I've wanted to watch the remake that came out a couple of years ago because I heard it's actually pretty good.
Right.
And I'm a big fan of the He-Man remake that they came out with in 2002. It's pretty much the same thing, but much better animation and stuff like that. But so I really wanted to watch the remake of Thundercats, but I have watched the original. And it's just it's hard to watch. It's just it's so 80s.
Bad.
But
yeah, I think the only thing that made it out of the 80s was RoboCop. Everything else should just stay back there.
Yeah.
I still love RoboCop.
Yeah.
So much.
What did you think about the remake?
I haven't seen it. I banned it. Banned. I'm not going to let them...
Yeah.
No, they don't. How
can you make it PG-13?
That's another thing.
Yeah. So like, how do you do that? Like, and I've heard that like the only thing surviving from his body is his hand and his head, and maybe his heart. It's like, why would you even keep the hand? Just throw it away. Like, you don't even need it. Like,
well, I saw that in the preview. He's got a bare hand attached to a fucking robot body.
Yeah.
And
it doesn't make any sense. It's like
you can't even pick up your RoboGun if you had a human hand attached to that body. There's no way it would survive.
That's funny. But looking at this cast list for Ghostbusters, I do see that Dan Aykroyd is coming back. You know, I guess that's good. And Ernie Hudson, who I love. Ernie Hudson. He is so cool. It's ridiculous.
Ernie Hudson is great.
Yeah. Like him and Billy D. Williams should be in a movie together where they're both just like the coolest guys in the world. Like, that'd just be such a cool movie.
Well, then it's a documentary.
Yes, it could just be a documentary.
It's just them two having coffee.
Yeah.
Coolest fucking guys in the world.
That's right. I love Ernie Hudson. He's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, this movie, that looks pretty funny. So, I mean, why not?
I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I like the idea of...
Race relations aside, I'm excited about seeing this movie.
Yeah. And I think Melissa McCarthy is funny.
Yeah.
So... I think she's what's drawing me in. Not only the Ghostbusters name is drawing me in, but I like her. So she's one of the reasons that I want to see it. But other than that, there's not a whole lot of news coming out, except there's a few more things I want to talk about. One first is there's some rumors of what Star Wars Episode 8 might be called. I don't like either of them. I hate both of them. The first one is Star Wars: Tale of the Jedi Temple. I think that's not good at all. No, it's bad.
It doesn't have the punch of The Force Awakens.
Yeah, and I wasn't even on board The Force Awakens at first, but it grew on me. But with this, it's like, they say Luke might be looking for the first Jedi Temple, but we don't know what he's doing because he disappeared. It's like, so that's just kind of confirming that, yes, he is looking for the Jedi Temples, and that's what this movie's going to be about. And I don't know if I want that to be what the movie's about.
Yeah, right.
You know, like the way they're going, it's going to be the First Order Strikes Back. You know, because the first one was A New Hope. Yeah, so... But then the second one is Star Wars: The Order of the Dark Side. And I don't like that either. Because if you're going to call it the Order of anything, just call it the First Order. I mean, that's what it was. But if you're going to go with something like that, I would have preferred Star Wars: The Knights of Ren.
Okay.
You know, have it more about them. Because, like...
Well, what about the dark side of the First Order?
The
dark side of the Order?
I don't know, because, like, the Order, like, it was just the new Empire, and I guess you could just say, like, you know, the First Order Strikes Back and stuff, but I don't like any of these titles. Like, I've heard all kinds of people pitch all kinds of titles, and, like, none of them seem to be any good.
No, I'd like to be super upset about these titles that you've given me, but it's just a flat line, just like nothing.
Yeah.
I don't feel either way about it, which is a poor thing to say about a Star Wars title.
Yeah.
I should be excited by the title.
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
Fucking The Empire Strikes Back.
Right?
The Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Some of the greatest titles ever.
Oh, yeah. I love The Empire Strikes Back because, like, it tells you exactly what's going to happen. Like, the Empire, it seems like, they were defeated in the first one. Like, the Death Star blew up. Tarkin died in the explosion. Like, they didn't destroy the rebels. You know, but then the second one, like, no, the Empire Strikes Back. Like, they're pissed that you blew up their Death Star. And they're coming and striking with a vengeance. It's like, that's awesome. Like, what a great title. It tells you what's happening and stuff. You know, it's the dark one. Like, it doesn't look good for our heroes. The Empire is striking back. And then obviously, you know, the third, Return of the Jedi, that could go either way. Either it's Return of Anakin to becoming a Jedi instead of a Sith, or, you know, the Jedi have returned because there is a new Jedi now in Luke. He's become a Jedi and he's the only one. So, I mean, you can take it either way. I mean, you know, so it's just great. And The Force Awakens, like, that works because of the story that they told us, that the Force kind of went away. Like, Luke was trying to train all his people, but then they all got slaughtered, so there is no light side anymore. So the Force has awoken, you know, in Rey, basically.
Right.
So, I mean, it works. It fit. And it fit for, like, you know, Star Wars has been dead for 10 years outside of the Clone Wars TV show. and like now it's back. It is awoken, and it awoken the fan in me again. Like I got obsessed with Star Wars again.
Yeah, it's a good metaphor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But all like these two titles, Tale of the Jedi Temple,
especially the Tale of the Jedi Temple.
Yeah, it's just bad.
It sounds like a Tolkien book, and that's the last thing I want in a Star Wars film.
Yeah, I mean, like Lucas drew from like Tolkien and like his fantasy aspect.
Fine,
but I mean, who doesn't pull from Tolkien?
But I don't want it to be like that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, so like both of these titles, I don't like. The only one I can think of that I would actually pitch would be The Knights of Ren. But even that, it's like, that's not even that good. So...
Yeah, what does it mean?
Yeah, exactly. Like, it would just mean that like we're going more into what the Knights of Ren are, because they never really explained it in The Force Awakens.
No.
We know that there are the Knights of Ren. There was that scene in... I think it was in the flashes that we got of Rey, where there was like 6 Knights of Ren, at that ship or whatever, probably there to confront Luke.
Uh-huh.
But we have no idea. But like, none of them were holding lightsabers, I don't think, except for maybe Kylo. But we have no idea. Like, what is the Knights of Ren? Like, is it the new Sith? Like,
but see, that's if you know who Kylo Ren is, that's even more intriguing.
Right.
I'd like to know who are the Knights of Ren.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so would I.
That's provocative.
Yeah.
The Tale of the Jedi Temple.
Yeah. It sounds like a bad like Indiana Jones title.
Right.
Yeah.
It sounds like a romp. It doesn't sound like an adventure.
Yeah.
It's an adventure, not a fucking tale.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah. It sounds like a young Indiana Jones title.
Exactly.
So, and have you watched Young Indiana Jones?
No.
Okay. The first season, he's a little kid just kind of traveling the world, learning morals and stuff from different religions and cultures, and it's more educational than entertainment. And then he becomes a teenager, and he wants to join the war. Before he joins the war, he joins the Mexican Revolution with Pancho Villa, which is pretty cool. And then he goes and tries to join the war. And season 2 is just World War One. And it's pretty awesome. I mean, the first scenes of season 2 is this battlefield, and then Germans with gas masks and flamethrowers killing soldiers and stuff, which is pretty awesome. But
that sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah, but the first season when he's a little kid, that's a title from when he was a little kid. Tale of the Jedi Temple. That sounds like a young Indiana Jones title.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I can't think of a title right now because we don't know anything about it.
Right.
And the title would have to give us a little bit of what it's about. And Tale of the Jedi Temple tells us that it is about Luke looking for the first Jedi Temple for whatever reason.
Right.
And the Order of the Dark Side just tells us that it's another Empire Strikes Back, which I guess that's the direction they're going based on the first one. But I don't know. I can't think of a title better than those, but they're not very good.
Yeah. It hasn't awakened anything in me.
No, definitely not. All right, next bit of news is The Dark Tower. They're finally making a Dark Tower movie. And this has been going on for years that everyone's wanted this to happen.
Right.
Everyone loves the books. I've never read the books. I know you have.
Yeah, I'm actually into the 6th book now. Again, this is the second time I'm reading the series.
Oh, wow, okay.
It's just as good as the first time I read it. I've been reading these books since I was in junior high.
Wow.
I guess Gunslinger came out in like 78, maybe?
Wow.
A very long time ago.
That's crazy.
And so he finished the last book, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago.
Dang, wow.
Yeah.
He's taken like his whole career to write this series.
Well, yeah, he talks about that in a lot of the forewords and the prologues.
Okay.
The story's nagging at him, but it's been so long since he, since he wrote it. And just the world of the Dark Tower is so rich and dark and just interesting. It's an interesting alternate reality. And I really would like to see it on film. So Stephen King posted on his Twitter account that it was confirmed that Idris Elba would be playing the Gunslinger.
Yes.
And Matthew McConaughey would be playing Martin, or the Man in Black.
Okay.
Which I think is perfect. I never really saw the Gunslinger as a black character in my mind, it took me a second, but... And then I realized, fucking Idris Elba is awesome.
Yes.
That guy can do anything.
Yes, he can.
So it took me like a minute and I was sold. That's fine. And then Matthew McConaughey as the Man in Black, perfect. I don't know if you've ever seen Killer Joe.
I have not.
But Matthew McConaughey plays a hitman who's also a police officer.
Okay.
But he's like fucking crazy, but sardonic. He's like laughing and dark at the same time. And that's kind of exactly what the Martin character is, the Man in Black character is. And I think it'll be perfect.
Cool. You don't think he's too old at this point?
Matthew McConaughey? No, not really. Because where we meet the Man in Black in The Gunslinger, he's kind of at the end of his trek.
Okay.
And so maybe for some flashbacks and stuff, they might have to do some CGI or some makeup. But no, I think it'll be perfect.
Okay.
I'm growing more and more on Matthew McConaughey every single day.
Yeah, I really like him. I've always liked him, so...
Yeah, I kind of fell off when he was in his, romantic comedy phase. Fair Little Launch and shit like that.
Yeah.
So fucking bad. But then I saw Killer Joe and then True Detective.
Oh, yeah.
He was phenomenal in True Detective.
Yep.
Just chewing scenery. Just
Yeah. He is really good.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. But Idris Elba... I love that guy. He is so good.
Yeah.
And I don't know much about The Dark Tower. I don't know what it's about, really. I have no idea, but him, I can just picture him in a trench coat as a gunslinger.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yeah, that's perfect. It doesn't have to be this. Just him in some kind of, pseudo-Western being a gunslinger. Because that's what I picture in my mind, is it's some kind of pseudo-Western.
Yeah, it's a pseudo-Western. It's like a sci-fi Western.
Right, yeah.
So basically it is a story of Roland Deschain. He's the gunslinger.
Okay.
And he's on a quest for the Dark Tower. And the Dark Tower is kind of the center of the universe. And all the multiverses put together. It's the center of all that.
Wow.
And the Dark Tower is... I forget what they call it, but the world is in entropy. It's falling apart. The universe is in entropy.
Okay.
And so he's going to the Dark Tower to set things right.
Oh, wow.
And so it starts with him chasing the Man in Black, which is going to be the Matthew McConaughey role. And as we get deeper and deeper into the series, we start to see, what do they call it? Concurrent timelines running in parallel universe. And he draws characters from parallel universe into his universe.
Oh, wow.
And there's monsters and killer robots and
cool.
Old-fashioned gunfights. It's really amalgam of a lot of different things. And another thing it does is it ties together. I think what Stephen King was trying to do was kind of tie his entire universes together, and saying that this is the center of the Stephen King universe.
Wow.
Right? So, and actually, do you know The Stand?
I've not watched it, but I know of it, yeah.
Okay, so there's a character called Flag in The Stand, and actually Martin is Flag. And so he bounces back and forth between these two universes. And he kind of brought the plague to the universe in The Stand.
Right.
And he also is in Tears of the Dragon, I believe, which was a Stephen King medieval tale.
Okay.
Yeah, he's just drawing everything together.
Wow, I didn't know that about the Dark Tower. That's really cool that it's all of his books are a part of this universe.
Right. He actually even brings in characters from other books. Well, like I said, from The Stand.
Right.
But he brings in a character from Salem's Lot.
Okay.
The priest character from Salem's Lot.
Wow.
Actually turns out to be a character in the Dark Tower series.
Wow. Yeah, so that's cool. I would have never guessed that's what the Dark Tower was about.
Oh yeah, it's fucking crazy. It's really hard to describe. I just gave you just like a pinch.
Right.
Wow,
that's crazy. I mean, yeah, I had no idea. I mean, I listened to a lot of power metal, and there's a lot of power metal songs about the Dark Tower, but I never investigate what the lyrics mean and look it up and stuff like that. I just kind of take it for what it is. They're talking about the Dark Tower and stuff, and I've had friends that love the series, but they never really told me what it was about.
Well, I recommend it, and I look forward to a Dark Tower board game.
Yes, it's inevitably going to happen, of course.
Hopefully, fingers crossed. They're making board games out of everything now.
Yeah. So. And this is going to be directed by Nicolas Arcel. Do you know who he is?
Yeah, Nicolas Arcel. He's not done a lot of stuff that I've seen, but he wrote and directed the original Swedish version of the girl with the dragon tattoo.
Ah, okay. Which
Now,
everyone...
What's that?
I'm going to say everyone that I've talked to says that's much better than the American version.
I would think so. I haven't seen the American version, but the girl with the dragon tattoo Swedish version was phenomenal. I watched it on a whim. I didn't really know much about it, and it blew me away. Not so much the sequels, but that first one is a solid movie. It's great, and it's also the first time I was introduced to Noomi Rapace. She was in Prometheus and Sherlock Holmes with Robert Downey Jr.
Who did she play? Was she in the first one or the second one?
I think she was in the second one. She was...
Because I actually enjoy those movies for what they are.
She wasn't the love interest. That was that...
Rachel McAdams.
Yeah.
Madame Simza Heron. I think she was the gypsy girl that they went to. Okay, yeah, that's right. All right. Yeah, because I actually enjoy those movies. A lot of people are like, oh, those movies are so stupid. They're just, cheesy action for cheesy action's sake, and they're not really...
Yeah, but I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I thought...
I thought it was done well, cheesy action,
Yeah, and I love the charisma. I mean, Robert Downey Jr. just drips charisma. And so I love the charisma. I loved how him and Jude Law play off each other. Like, their banter and their just chemistry was really, really well.
They did really well together.
Yeah, and they established it, like, first thing in the first movie where, like, it's like the slow-mo, like, he knows, where the guy is going to punch. Like, if he swings with his right, I can punch him here, and he's going to do this and all that stuff. Like, he's figuring it out through the fight. And spoilers for the second one, Moriarty, they established him as a boxer early on. So at the end, when you see Robert Downey Jr., like, okay, like, he's going to swing right, and I'm going to dodge it here, I'm going to do this and then that, and then, it's all going on in his head. But then you see it from Moriarty's side. He's like, you think you're the only one that can play this game? And so he starts doing it too. So, like, neither of them are really getting any punches in because they're both figuring out exactly what the other one's doing. It's like, to me, I was like, what? That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, they flipped it on Sherlock, and I was like, well, that's so cool. But I like, cheesy stuff like that. So
I love those movies.
I thought they were fun. Yeah. But yeah, the Dark Tower, I mean, it's really cool that it's finally happening. I mean, like I said, like, I've talked to people that have loved this stuff for years, so for it to finally be, and not just like, oh, we're getting a Dark Tower movie, like, now we have, like, a director and a cast, of the two main characters, so it's becoming more and more real,
I think the time is right for it, too. I think, just the way Hollywood is right now, the quality of stuff that they're coming about, this movie couldn't have been done any other time. Maybe in the future could have been, but in the past, I don't think it could have been done right.
Yeah, just from what you explained, all the parallel universes and all that stuff, is like, how would you convey that, like, in the mid-90s or something? It
would look awful.
Yeah.
It would just be bad. Yeah. Fucking green screen.
I'm thinking like The Legend of Hercules or Xenos type CG, like that type of bad CG. So I'm glad it's happening to where visual effects have come to a place where it's like, okay, we can actually do, things that look crazy like this, like, I don't even know how to explain it, but it should look good.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, that's awesome that it's finally happening. But any other movie news that you want to talk about?
No, it was kind of a dry week, but that Dark Tower news just really sent me through the roof. It was the most exciting thing that happened to me. Yeah. Which might say something about my life, but I'm okay with where I am right now.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move into our movie spotlight. And this week, like I said in the intro, that I chose a movie with Leonardo DiCaprio because he just finally won his Oscar after all these years, and so I chose The Beach. This is a movie that came out in the year 2000. It is directed by Danny Boyle. It is written by John Hodge, who wrote the screenplay based on the Alex Garland novel. And it stars Leonardo DiCaprio as Richard, Daniel York as the Hustler, Virginie Ledion plays Francois, and I think in the credits it even says introducing.
Oh, yeah.
So that's probably her first role.
Yeah, that's the only time I remember her.
Yeah, I can't pronounce this guy's name.
Don't even worry about it. The only person we need to worry about is Tilda Swinton.
Yes, Tilda Swinton is in it.
Tilda Swinton, my favorite character in that movie.
Robert Carlyle's in it. He plays Daffy, who's kind of the catalyst.
Right. Robert Carlyle is awesome.
He gets things going. The guy he played Tilda Swinton's boyfriend. He looked familiar, but I couldn't quite place him.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
This guy, Lars Ants Hansen, plays Bugs, but he looked familiar, but I don't know anything about him. He's a Norwegian actor. Yeah, he just looked familiar. Maybe just had one of those faces.
Yep. You got that face, Bugs. The one that everyone recognizes.
Yep.
but I can't remember where they seen yous.
But this movie is about a 20-something-year-old Richard. He travels to Thailand to find himself, and this crazy guy in this hotel in Thailand, like this crappy hotel that he's staying in. One of his neighbors in the hotel is this French couple. He hears them sleeping together and stuff, and he's totally attracted to the girl. And then this other guy, he's just this insane Scotsman. He's in the hallway just kicking and screaming and yelling all these absurd things, and he's completely daffy, and his name is Daffy. He's just insane. And he starts talking about this island, and as they're like sharing a joint.
What do you say? He's like, you got any dope over there?
No.
Plenty over here, mate.
Yeah. And he's super funny. It's almost hard to understand what he's saying. He says so many things so fast, but he starts telling about this island where, like, it's just paradise. You can do anything you want. Like, there's dope everywhere, and they keep calling it dope instead of like pot or weed or anything.
Right. That's true.
And now we know dope from what we watched last week as to be more hardcore drugs and things, but
right.
But I guess you could just... I mean, I think dope was a more common term for marijuana years ago.
Yeah, definitely.
But now I think it might just be like an overall generic term for drugs.
Well, in the year 2000, it was mostly known by the chronic. I think everyone was calling it the chronic in 2000. Right?
Yes, yeah. Mostly because of Dr. Dre.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Very influential poet, Dr. Dre.
Yes. The next day... he goes to Daffy's room, Leonardo DiCaprio's character Richard, and Daffy has slit his wrist. There's blood everywhere, but he leaves a note on Richard's door, and it's the map to this island that he was talking about that nobody can find and stuff, and it's just this rumor. So he decides, I'm gonna go, but like most things in my life, I can't do things alone. So he recruits this French couple to join him, and the French guy, Francois was the girl's name,
right.
Etienne. He sets everything up, like, bus trips to this part of Thailand and, boat trip to that part of Thailand and staying in hotels and all that stuff. He gets everything set up. They're on the beach the day before they go. Like, we're gonna get dropped off on this other island and then swim the rest of the way to the secret island, which is like 2 miles maybe. They don't know. But he meets these two or three guys, these two dudes just drinking on the beach. And they start to, he's like, oh man, like, you've heard the story about this beach just made a pot, and Leo's just like, oh yeah, that's a good story, but he makes the decision to copy the map and leave it to these two guys.
Right.
And the whole time Leonardo DiCaprio is narrating, and that's my favorite part of the movie is the narration. Everything's really well written, everything he's talking about and stuff, and the way he says it is just really well done. This is a young Leo in the year 2000. He's still pretty young. He's already done Titanic.
Yeah, he's just coming off of Titanic.
Yeah. But he's still really young, really thin. They end up swimming to the island. They get there, finally. There's a funny bit on the halfway there. The girl pretends to get taken down by a shark. And they're freaking out. And the guy had already mentioned, I saw a fin. And he's like, I thought you should know I saw a fin. He's like, don't fucking tell me. That's what you shouldn't have done. And it ends up the two French people are just playing a joke on Leonardo DiCaprio. Right. There was no shark. She didn't get pulled down. And he's pissed, but it's just a fun little moment. They get to the island, they go to this field, and it's just this huge field of pot.
Yeah.
And they're just like, this is awesome. They're going through, and Leo sees this little monkey on a tree, and he's like, oh, hey, little monkey, And then he sees a collar on it, and it's attached to this, this guy with a gun. He's like, fuck. So, they have to, sneak out of the thing as all these people with guns are, looking for, they thought they might have saw something. And
right.
So they get out, they jump off this waterfall cliff, and this guy says, this British guy, he's like, oh, it took me more than an hour to build up the balls to jump from there. You better come with me. And he takes them to Tilda Swinton, and they kind of embrace them. You're part of our society now. It's this, perfect little society. They fish, they do their laundry, they do everything. They take turns. It's just like this.
And they smoke blunts all day.
Yeah, and he introduces all these characters, through kind of a montage. Here's these three...
right.
Norwegian people that love to fish.
I like the intro montage.
Yeah.
Here's the Christian he's super into Christianity and crickets.
yeah, he's the guy that finds them at the waterfall.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and the guy says he's like the two things best in the world: Jesus Christ and cricket. And it shows him explains does anybody have any questions about cricket? And everyone raises their hands because nobody understands.
Cricket's a fucking ridiculous game.
Yeah, it is.
I still don't understand it.
I don't understand it.
I've had a British gentleman try to explain the rules to me, and I'm like,
yeah, it's weird.
Ugh.
Leonardo DiCaprio, like he kills a shark. He becomes kind of like this famous person on the island.
Right.
And they take heed that those two dudes that he made the copy of the map to show up with these two girls. And so Tilda Swinton's like, did you or did you not make their map? And he's like, yeah, I did, but I'm sorry, like, it can be fixed. And she's like, no, you're going to stay here and watch them. And when they come over here, get the map and send them away.
Right.
And so he goes stir
crazy. The reason
crazy.
this is important is because they were all there, and they made a deal with the men with machine guns.
Yes, Tilda Swinton.
Stay there. It's definitely a weed farm.
Yes.
Right? It's an illegal weed farm.
Yep.
But these people got there, and then the weed farmer said, all right, fine. You can stay. We don't want any trouble. But no one else can come. You can't have anyone else come.
Yeah, and just stay to your side, and we won't bother you. You don't bother us. You don't steal from our plantation. We won't kill you.
Right. And that's why it's important for
Tilda
Swinton to decree that Leonardo DiCaprio that Richard get the map from these interlopers.
Yeah, and send them away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and just before that, there was another shark attack, and it ended up killing one guy and severely injuring the other. And Tilda Swinton's like, we can't call medical people here. We have to bring him, to the mainland. But he's too fucked up to do that. And and for days, he's just sitting there in agony, and everyone is depressed because there's this guy, his leg is half bitten off. He's moaning and screaming, and everyone's depressed, like, this sucks. So they make the decision, let's just put him in a tent out in the jungle and have him die out there.
Not even putting him in a tent. That was...
that was...
who's the French guy?
Etienne.
Etienne's idea. They just take him out.
Yeah.
They set him in the forest.
Yep.
And it's like, sorry, bro.
Yeah. You're ruining our fun.
Yeah, you're screaming a little too loud. We need to put you over here out of the way. And
yeah, and in the narration, Richard even says, like, out of sight really is out of mind.
Yeah,
because they all just went, playing volleyball again and stuff like that. Like, they forgot all about him. And yeah, Etienne's pissed. Like, you guys can't do this. Like, we need to help him, and he stays out there with him. And all the while, Richard has won the affections of Francois, and Etienne, he's pissed about it because they slept together. And Etienne's like, yelling at him, like, I know you guys did that. He's like, but I want her to be happy, so I'm okay with it.
Right.
But I'm still pissed.
It just shows what a, chill dude that guy is.
Yeah, yeah.
He understands, his girlfriend's chosen another.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not make some big waves about it.
Right, especially in this little community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's Norwegians in agony.
Yeah, we need to help him.
He's gonna die. We need to help him.
Yeah, I'm not just going to let him die.
Yeah, so he's actually the hero of the story.
Yeah, and like I said, he set everything up on the trip to get there.
Exactly.
Leo just sat back and was like, hey, I have the map, you do everything else.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he actually does everything. He's the good guy. Leo was okay with, just leave him out in the forest to die. He's going to die anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So, but he's shunned, Tilda Swinton. Well, before that, Tilda Swinton says, like, okay, like, Richard, you're coming with me to the mainland because we need more supplies. So everyone makes a list, like, I need toothpaste and batteries and tampons and hairbrush. Yeah, like, everyone's coming up to me and he's writing it all down.
Everyone's coming with just lists and lists and lists of shit to get from the mainland.
Yeah, and what they do is they go to the mainland, they sell some pot, and then they buy all their supplies and they go back.
Right.
And Bugs, when he sits down to tell him what he does, he just grabs his twig and berries as hard as he can. He says, like, keep your dick in your pants and your hands to yourself.
And your dick in your pants.
Yeah. And obviously that doesn't happen. He ends up sleeping with Tilda Swinton. And she does it all nonchalantly. She's like, get some sleep because I might want to have sex again before we leave.
She was very...
yeah, just whatever. It's just sex. We're just sleeping together because, whatever. But Francois, asks him about it. And he says, like, no, nothing happened. It was just a normal trip. But then these people come. He's shunned. He's living out in the jungle by himself, making sure these 4 teenagers basically don't come to their side of the island, and he goes stir crazy.
Oh yeah,
it becomes a video game. Like it shows him like walking through the jungle like a video game, and like something will like fall on his head and it's like game over and all this stuff. Like
the first time I saw that scene, I was like, what? Fuck?
Yeah, me too. I was like, what?
The second, I really warmed up to it because you can really see his descension into madness. Like. That's only like the first step.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And then you can see he goes further and further and deeper into madness. He's getting more and more crazy.
Yeah.
He's encroaching on the farmer's territory.
Yeah, and like the whole time he's like narrating, he's like, like he must like take them out, and like he goes and he steals one of the guy's like headbands and he puts it on like Rambo, and he picks up the guy's gun and like points it at him. He just says, "Bang," and then he just puts it back down and leaves.
Well, yeah, these guys were sleeping.
Yeah,
and he sneaks into their hut.
Yeah,
and does all this while they're sleeping. Very blatant and crazy thing to do.
Yes, and like the whole time, like they show him like sharpening bamboo and like putting him in this hole and putting leaves over like booby traps. Like he's just completely crazy. Oh, the video game thing. Mm-hmm. Earlier, like he's still pining after Francois. He's just like looking at her when she was still with Etienne. The religious cricket guy. He's like it's never gonna happen. He's like like 1, you're not French. 2, you can't speak French. 3, he is French. He's like listing all these things. He's like, look at your thumbs. He's like, those are well developed thumbs. Too many video games. And like they show him later on before the shark attack. He's just sitting there playing Game Boy.
Right.
So when he starts going crazy and he's envisioning himself in a video game, they had already established that before he started traveling the world, he played a lot of video games.
Yeah.
And he's sitting there on the island playing video games. So, the first time I watched it, I didn't quite catch that. I was like, why is he thinking he's in a video game? But then once I rewatched it, I was like, oh, they set it up. Now he's thinking, like, when he jumps over rocks, it's, plus 100 points and stuff like that. And so it made more sense. He's going crazy and crazy and crazy. The farmers, like, see him. They start chasing him. The dudes leave their little camp on the beach, these 4 teenagers, and they find the field of pot.
Right.
And they're like, yeah, this is great, dope far as we can see. And the farmers find them and start just shooting them,
Yeah, they basically just get gunned down.
Yeah. And, a few of them start to run. One of the girls starts to run. She has the map. And the whole time, like, he's, like, sitting in the bushes, like, watching, like, and then, like, when she comes up on him, like, she's running from these what are they called?
Farmers.
Yeah, farmers.
In quotation marks.
Farmers, yeah, with guns, just murdered her friends, and then she comes up on Leo crouching in the brush, and he
hisses
at her. It's hilarious. And then the farmers gun her down, and he sees the map, but then like her blood splattered on his face, and it snaps him back to reality.
Yeah, breaks him out of it.
Yeah, and he's like, oh my god, like I've been playing like Jungle Warrior, like this is real. Like this girl just her blood is on my face, and he doesn't even grab the map. He just runs, and they chase after him, and one of them falls in his pit of sticks, and you don't see it, but it's probably like all up in his legs and foot, and so he runs back to the camp, and he's getting Francois is like, we have to go now, let's go, and they go get Etienne, and they're like, he's like, meet me at the beach. I'm gonna go try to get some more people and get some supplies and stuff, but the farmers are there, and they got Etienne and what's her name and bring him back. Oh no, he says, he tells Etienne, like, go to the beach, I'll meet you there, and he kills the Swedish guy or whatever.
Right.
Because he's still alive. Etienne's kept him alive this whole time. He's like, we can't leave him.
But the guy is on the brink of death.
Oh,
He's got gangrene in his shark bite.
Yep.
He's delirious. His fever's got to be...
Yeah, he was going to die anytime. Yeah. So but Etienne's like, he's like, I can't leave him here. I need to do all I can to save his life. But Leo's like, nope, meet me at the beach. I'll put him out of his misery, basically. And he kills him.
Right.
And then he goes back to camp to get some supplies and stuff. And the farmers are there. He's saying, like, basically what we said, like, I told you no more people. Like, and here's a map, like, more people. He empties out his gun except for one bullet and gives it to Tilda Swinton because they find out that Leo made the map.
Right.
So he's like, okay, like, kill him and then I'll let you stay. And everyone's freaking out, like, don't do it. Like, what are you doing, Tilda? Like, and she's like, no, I have to do this to keep our society intact. Like, I'm not leaving. Like, and Leo's pretty much calling out, like, you think these people can handle it? Like, they couldn't handle a shark bite. You think they can handle you murdering me in front of all of them? And she's like, they can handle it. She pulls the trigger.
Click.
Yeah, no bullet.
Right.
And the farmer kind of like, he gets a smirk on his face, like, okay. And
then
everyone leaves.
Everyone freaks the fuck out.
Yeah,
they're like, no, I'm done.
Yeah, like our leader was about to murder one of us in cold blood to keep this intact. We already saw her not give a fuck that this guy with a shark bite's about to die. Yeah, we're done.
Enough's enough.
Yeah, so they all leave, and she's freaking out, like, why are you leaving? Like, no, and so they all leave. They get on. They don't like they establish that they had a boat. that's what they bring their supplies back with and get to the mainland. But they leave the boat. They just get on their like packs, like a makeshift raft, and like paddle away.
Right.
And it's like, you have a boat. Like, get on the boat, or at least put your supplies on the boat. Like,
I didn't really catch that. It just looked like they were on a big like raft. A couple people in the water. A couple people on the raft.
Yep.
But I didn't realize they had a boat.
Yeah. It's not like a tiny little like rubber inflatable boat. Like it wasn't like a giant boat, but it was big enough to at least put all their gear and stuff in. But
who knows why the decision was made?
Yeah. But anyway, like, so the movie ends. Richard is back on the mainland. He goes to it's the year 2000, so there are like
internet cafes.
Yeah, internet cafes. So he goes to an internet cafe to check his email, and there's a picture and it said beach life. There's all these things like from his mom. I noticed, like emails from his mom, but he checks that, and it's a picture that they took like when they first got to the island, of the whole group, jumping in excitement of the picture, and it says like love Francois. I was like, okay, so Francois is still alive, at least, because who knows who died on the way back, shark attack, something. So I thought it was a really well done movie. The narration was my favorite part. It was really well written. Leo, he's great in this movie.
Yeah, he was really good. It's an interesting coming of age story, and like he really does a good piece of acting on the scene that you talked about where he kills the sick Norwegian guy. It wasn't quite as callous, or we just kind of brushed over it real quick.
Right.
But you can see he's in agony about having to do this.
Right. Yeah, especially since he just got snapped back into reality because of somebody's death. Now here he is killing somebody.
Now he's ending a life.
Yeah.
And there's no talking, there's no monologue or anything. It's just the acting is all in his eyes and his face. And there's a lot of agony there. And he did really good.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like this movie. Anybody who likes Leo should like this movie because he does a great job. I think it's just a really well done movie. If you don't like Leo, it's just a good movie. It's an interesting idea. Like this like perfect little society on this beach of pot goes terribly, terribly wrong.
Well, yeah, it's definitely social commentary.
Yeah,
it's showing that. Obviously, Leo he grew up playing video games, and that's all he really, like you mentioned. That's all he can do on the island. He kind of gets away from that.
Yeah. He becomes like a fisherman. Like his first time fishing, he gets like 10 fish. He's like, yeah, I'm so good, and he kills the shark. He becomes kind of the celebrity on the island for killing the shark.
But it's also kind of a Lord of the Flies thing in a way. Like these Norwegian guys are injured, fishing for them, and they get upset that the guy's sick. They get upset that he's in agony. Yep. They're like, you're ruining our fun. You're spoiling our fun. And it's just kind of a comment about how shallow and it's just all for fun. We're here to have fun.
Yep.
Nothing can ruin our fun. Even death and injury, you're not going to ruin our fun.
Yeah, I think in the narration he says like, the thing about like shark attacks or like injuries, like either die or survive.
Right.
Don't go in between where you're in agony for so long. Like, die.
Exactly.
If you're gonna
have the decency.
yeah, like because you're ruining our fun. Like that's what he said. Like you ruined our fun for a while, so we sent him away so we can go about becoming this fun little society again. Like it's just like this really cool movie. I think I first watched it in like around 2000 2001. I just thought it was cool. Like this like this is a fun little drug movie, and it really wasn't a fun little drug movie. The drugs were barely a part of it. Right. Like they show them like smoking joints and stuff here and there, but it's not really about that. It's about the society on this island where they're away from society, becoming this almost communist society. Like everyone plays their part. Like Leo says in his commentary when he was shunned, he's like, this is almost better than the community because there's no more fishing duty, there's no more laundry duty. So it's almost a communist society where like everyone plays a part. Nobody's better than anybody else, except Tilda Swinton. She kind of becomes their leader. But he kind of calls out like she's the leader, but it's no big deal. But it's almost like what communist starts out as, like in that the story about the farm or the farm animal farm. Like it starts off like no, we just want to do it ourselves. Nobody does any more work. Nobody does any less work. But then it becomes this dictatorship.
Exactly.
And that's what communists in the real world. That was obviously commentary on the Soviet Union. So that kind of is, you kind of see it here. Like you can see, like it started off as like, everyone kind of pitches in. Nobody's above anybody else, but Tilda Swinton kind of becomes their leader.
Well, then she becomes
then the killer, you know.
Maniacal maniac.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of a play on communism. I saw anyway.
Okay.
I saw that a little bit.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But I mean, it's not like in your face, like this is a movie about communism, but I mean, there's touches of it.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the parable aspects of it, but it's very Danny Boyle for that era. You had Train Spotting a couple years before that.
Yeah.
And it's just, I think it's just about youth. And just all I want to do is party and get high and just be very selfish. And
yeah. You know.
And that island was just a sample, a condensed sample of American society at large, or Western society at large. Everyone's in it for themselves, no matter what the situation. Even if you have this community, this supposed to be everyone contributes community. Everyone's in it for their own gratification.
Yep. But yeah, so check it out. The Beach. I totally recommend this movie.
It's funny that you said it's Leo still skinny. Because I think like the next movie he did after that was Gangs of New York. And it's a surprising juxtaposition between Skinny Leo on the beach and the fucking beef monster that he turned into for Gangs of New York.
Yeah.
Like he was
that's right.
swole in that movie.
Yeah, and incongruent with Gangs of New York, he did Catch Me If You Can. Because they both came out.
I think he did that right after Gangs of New York, or probably around the same time.
Yeah, I think he did one right after the other. I think he did Catch Me If You Can right after. I think. Yeah. Anyway, but right after this, he did Gangs of New York, and then that, and like seeing him now, like he's not like a fat guy or anything, but compared to this, where he's just like a skinny, 21-year-old.
Yeah.
He's much bigger now. Much flabbier now. He's got a much rounder face now. But I mean, it comes with age. He's like in his upper 40s now, isn't he, or something? Or he's at least
I don't know.
Early
He's got to
40s.
be close to it.
Yeah, he's at least early 40s. He was born in 1974. 42?
Oh, 42? I can't remember.
He's turning 42 this year. Yeah, turning 42 later this year, November 11th. Anyway, yeah, we totally recommend that. All right, so let's move into my fan casting. Now, last week I think I said I was going to do Tomb Raider, but I'm not quite done with it. I got to tweak a few things, so I decided to do one that I have been working on I think I started working on this like 2 years ago. I finally finished it and am good with it. And it's the Bat Family. I mentioned this before that I've done the Bat Family, and you were like, the villains. I was like, I haven't done the villains yet. This is just the Bat Family. And in the comics, there are a lot of members of the Bat Family that, unless you read comics or read up on comics, you would have no idea who they are. And I don't know some of their real names. I know their Bat names because I haven't read a whole lot of the Bat Family. I read a lot of Batman, but I don't read the Batwing and the Black Bat.
No.
Yeah, so
I'm pretty familiar with the Bativerse.
Right. Okay, so there is Batman, there's Nightwing, there's the Red Hood, there's Red Robin, there's Batgirl, there's the Spoiler, there's Batwoman, there's the Black Bat, there's Batwing, and Alfred. So that's the family that I chose to do. I'm sure there might be some other ones and this and that, but those are the ones that I did. And actually there is one I have to change for the same reason last week, and we'll get to there. But for Batman, this was the hardest for me. Who do you choose as Batman? And it came down to two people for me. And one is George
Clooney or Val Kilmer. Which one is better?
Right? Well, Val Kilmer is too much of a fat guy now. Although he has lost weight. He's not nearly as fat as he was a few years ago. So George Clooney would win that if it came down to the two. But no, it came down to Carl Urban from Star Trek. He plays Bones.
Right.
And he would be great. But I was like, no, I want to get somebody less famous.
Idris Elba.
No, I didn't choose him. I actually chose Scott Adkins. And this guy is an actual martial artist, so he can actually do all the fighting and stuff. He's a little short. He's got the grizzled face. He looks more like Ben Affleck than any other Batman. He's been in probably movies you've never seen, but I've seen him in the terrible movie The Legend of Hercules that came out I think last year or the year before.
Yeah.
And it was one of those January movies.
Better you than me, sir.
Yeah, it was bad. It starred as Hercules, one of the guys from the Twilight Saga. He was part of the vampire family. It was really bad. Yeah, it was really bad. But Scott Adkins played this like warlord king. And at the end, they had to fight each other, and the fight scene was actually quite badass. He's not a bad actor. Like throughout, like I was watching, I was like, this is the guy that I'm looking at for Batman, and
yeah,
he was pretty good. So
it sounds good. And what do you see this iteration as? Do you see this iteration as a television show, as a wide release movie? How do you want
to? For this one, I didn't quite think of that. I always try to limit myself. Like, don't just get every A-list actor.
Right.
I don't know. It would almost have to be serialized. Because the Bat family is so big, like how are you going to feature them all in one movie, or a series of movies that's based around Batman? So it would have to be...
So what about like a Bat family version of maybe Gotham? Like present-day Gotham?
Yeah, it would have to be a show like Gotham or any of these shows that are out now where there is a main character, it is Batman, but there are all these other characters. Or maybe even something like Lost, where... it's an ensemble piece.
And super confusing.
Well, yeah.
You and him.
But, every episode...
There's a red button that Batman has to hit? Is that...
yeah. He has to keep the world from exploding by entering this code every 108 minutes. Right. But no. In Lost, every episode, there's a main character in every episode.
Right.
And in that show, the episode... the stuff happening on the island, and there's flashbacks of what happened to them before the island, and that's what makes it. This episode's about this character.
I can see that.
So it's a show. It's a Batman show. He's probably going to be the main character, but then there's a Nightwing episode. It's all about him and his little adventure and stuff like that, and so on and so forth for all these characters. So that's kind of what I would picture it as, an ensemble show where.
In the end, we find out it's Bat Purgatory.
Yes, exactly. It's not real.
All right, so Scott Adkins. I'm not too familiar with him. I like his diet. I'm a fan of bacon, so why not? He can be Batman. Exactly.
So moving into Nightwing, which is one of my favorite characters in comics. I love Dick Grayson, and I chose Ben Barnes. And this guy was in the Chronicles of Narnia, Prince Caspian, and Voyage of the Dawn Treader. He played Prince Caspian. He was in the movie came out I think last year called The Seventh Son, like some fantasy type movie.
Yeah.
He was in what's that movie, Stardust, with Robert De Niro.
Oh, and, right.
He doesn't play the main character. He plays the main character's father. He was the one that initially went to the fantasy realm and slept with the princess, and his son is the one that had the adventure throughout the movie. But he was the character that went to there in the beginning. And I really like him. Ben Barnes. I just think he's a good actor. I like him. He fits the bill of Nightwing. Tall, slender, the right color of hair and all that stuff. So that's why I chose him.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that character. He was Robin before.
He was the first Robin,
and then
he became Nightwing. And actually, in the comics for a little while, he became Batman, while Bruce Wayne was out of commission. So, I mean. He's basically the firstborn son of Batman,
Right.
And he's just such a fun character as Nightwing. He's a lot like Spider-Man. Like he makes fun of his villains as he's beating him up and stuff like that. And so he's just a fun guy.
I played him in the Arkham games. Pretty awesome in that.
Right. So I chose Ben Barnes as Nightwing. And moving into the Red Hood, this was a little harder. And if you've seen the animated movie Under the Red Hood,
yes,
Jensen Ackles plays the voice.
Oh, okay.
And it was perfect. I was like, that's perfect. I love Jensen Ackles on Supernatural, so I picked Jensen Ackles. I mean, it only makes sense, He might be around the same age, maybe even older than Ben Barnes. I'm not sure. I think Ben Barnes might be a little older, but so he's age appropriate as the second-born son. He's got the physicality. He can act. I've watched him for 10 years on Supernatural, so.
And he sounds like the Red Hood.
Yeah, exactly. He's got the right voice.
Like
yeah. So. Jensen Ackles is who I picked. Next, the Red Robin. This one was really hard because he couldn't be 30, but he couldn't be 20, So I chose Logan Lerman, and
I don't know Red Robin.
He's the third Robin. So you have Jason Todd was the second one. Dick Grayson was the first one, and this is not Jason Todd. Tim Drake. Tim Drake is this Robin, and he's basically just Robin for the longest time, but then he becomes Red Robin. He's actually been like his dad. Like he's like, I don't want you being Robin anymore. All these things, like it gets really convoluted, but he's basically the third Robin.
Right. So you chose Logan Lerman.
Logan Lerman.
And what was he in? He looks so familiar.
He was in the Percy Jackson movies, the Lightning Thief and the Poseidon or whatever it was called, the second one. He was in that.
Oh, I never saw those, but I know.
Right. He was in a really terrible Three Musketeers movie.
Oh, good.
Directed by the guy who's done the last 5 Resident Evil movies. He did Event Horizon. Paul W.S. Anderson or whatever.
Okay. Yeah, those Resident Evil movies are fucking awful.
Yes, they are. But the director, he's married to Mia Jovovich. That's why he does all those movies with her. And the Three Musketeers movie has Mia Jovovich in it. And the cast isn't so bad, and some of the action's pretty good, but it's just a really bad movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I love some of the cheesiness between the Duke of England and the King of France. Some of their banter and stuff is pretty cool. But
boy, Mila Jovovich knows how to pick a bad movie.
Oh yeah,
man, she is the best bad movie picker there ever was.
Oh yeah, I just watched a movie called Survivor with her and Pierce Brosnan.
I saw part of that. It was unwatchable.
Yes,
I was like, holy crap.
Yes, she's so
Pierce Brosnan,
bad.
what's up with that fucking beard?
Yeah, it's just not good. And
no.
She's not good. I don't like her at all.
Did you ever try Ultraviolet?
No, I didn't. I couldn't bring myself to do it.
You're a lucky man.
Was it that bad?
It was so fucking bad.
Oh,
I
God.
do not walk out of movies. And this was the first movie I ever walked out of.
Wow.
I was like, I can't do it anymore. I can't do it. And I actually got my money back. They were like,
oh, really?
We know.
He's young enough where he can play the third Robin
and
not be like a little kid, but he's not like in his 30s or anything. And so I chose him. He's not a terrible actor. He was in that movie Fury with Brad Pitt and Shia LaBeouf.
Right.
The World War II tank movie.
He was the fish out of water, right? The new kid?
Yeah, he was a new one, yeah. So, I mean, he's not a bad actor, you know?
No, I liked him in that.
Yeah. So I chose him as the Red Robin.
Yeah. Put him in a tank and in a Robin outfit. And
yeah, there you go. Yeah. So next I chose to do Damian Wayne, Batman's son with Talia al Ghul.
Mm.
And he's a little prick. His character sucks. I hate him so much.
Sucks. That is a declaration.
Yeah. I mean, he's Batman's actual son,
mm-hmm.
you know, and he becomes Robin. But I chose Chandler Riggs, and he's on The Walking Dead.
Right.
He's what's his name's Grimes, Grimes, the main character.
Rick
Grimes, right?
Grimes.
Yeah, Rick Grimes. Yeah, he's Rick Grimes' son. And he's aged. Like I said, I started casting this 2 years ago, so he was a lot younger then. But
so, are you watching The Walking Dead second half?
Season? I haven't watched any of The Walking Dead because
you're missing any of The Walking Dead.
I haven't watched any of The Walking Dead.
I just had I think I might have had a stroke. You said you haven't watched any of The Walking Dead.
I haven't watched any of The Walking Dead.
Oh my god.
Carl Grimes.
Carl, of course.
Carl Grimes is his
Such
name.
an idiot.
But I did look up some clips of Carl Grimes on the show, and he's a good young actor.
Oh yeah,
so
I think I'm looking forward to seeing him do something outside of The Walking Dead.
Yes, that would be nice.
I think he's going to be fantastic at it. I think he's going to have a great acting career.
Yeah, I've never watched it because I had a roommate for 5 years who was overly obsessed with zombies. Obsessed. He would make charts of where he would go and what he would do if a zombie apocalypse happened, like all kinds of stuff. He was obsessed with World War Z, the book, and so I got turned off on zombies. I loved Shaun of the Dead and Land of the Dead. I thought was actually pretty interesting. And once I think Shaun of the Dead and Land of the Dead is what drove him to be obsessed with zombies, and then the book World War Z. And so we watched Diary of the Dead.
I didn't see that one.
Yeah, that was George A. Romero's second to last one. He did one more after that. I was just totally turned off. Like, he was so obsessed. It was all zombies all the time. So now I'm just like, oh, zombies.
Zombie Mark.
Yeah,
all zombies all the time.
Yeah, so I just don't want anything to do with it.
I can see that. I mean, there's too much zombie shit anyway.
Yeah.
1 out of 5 board games that comes out nowadays is a fucking zombie-themed board game. The market is saturated with zombie everything. So I can see how you wouldn't want to be exposed to any more zombie shit. But if there was one more thing I think you should expose yourself to, it would be The Walking Dead.
Yeah, and for me, like, it's just been going on too long at this point to get into it, and I've heard it's like gone downhill. So
I think it's actually improved, but I have strange tastes. But take a week off, get a pound of meth, just blow through the whole thing, no problem. Like
yeah, maybe. I don't know. Like I said, I'm so turned off on zombies. So.
All right,
but I chose Chandler Riggs because he is a young, good actor. Because I haven't watched the show, but I've watched clips of him on the show. So
good choice.
Yeah. But then Batgirl, Barbara Gordon. This one was tough because there's so many redheaded actresses out there that I was like, well, which one do I choose? All these things. And so I went with Deborah Ann Wall, who is absolutely gorgeous. Mm-hmm. And she's a good actress. She was on True Blood. Yes. This was before she was on Daredevil.
Right.
That I cast
I
her.
remember her in that.
Yeah, so I mean, she was great in Daredevil. I think she was blonde in Daredevil.
Yeah, she was blonde. She did so much whining though in True Blood.
Oh, in True Blood. No, I watched all of season. No, I didn't even finish season 1, and then my friend got into it. So when I went to his house, he'd be watching, and I saw episodes here and there throughout seasons 2 and 3 and stuff. So I did see her in the show like once or twice.
It's not one I watch religiously. Every time I saw her on it, she was fucking crying or terrified about something. I was like, oh my god, shut up. But in Daredevil, she was great.
Yeah, she was great. So I chose her because she's just absolutely gorgeous. Right age to play Barbara Gordon. So, I mean, but there are so many redheaded actresses to choose from. It was really tough. Like, I almost chose, I forget her name. She was on Game of Thrones. She played Ygritte.
I know. I don't know her name. I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Great choice.
Yeah, I almost chose her.
So high.
Yeah. And, in that show, especially at the end of the season, where she when they attack Castle Black, mm-hmm. and she's, like, actually kicking ass and stuff, I was like, cool, she'd be great. But, like I said, I cast this... I mostly cast this a long time ago, so I chose Deborah Ann Wall. Moving into the spoiler, she's a character, she is the daughter of a mobster, but she doesn't like that he's a mobster, so she dresses up to spoil his mobbing.
Hence her clever name.
Yes, but at one point...
She doesn't go around telling people the end of Star Wars.
No. She doesn't spoil movies, she spoils plots.
Huh.
Not movie plots.
No!
But at one point, she actually became she became Robin. At one point, when Tim Drake, remember I said like his dad doesn't want him to be Robin anymore, so he dropped out, and she became Robin for a little bit. But I think her and Tim Drake are lovers. I'm not sure if they're old enough to actually be sexually involved, but they're dating or whatever. But
I like to believe they are.
Yeah, I picked Skylar Samuels, and at this point, I don't remember why, because this is one of the earliest ones I cast, because it was so easy. I was like, oh, a young blonde actress who's cute.
Check.
Yep, so that's why I chose her. I can't remember what she's been in.
Is the spoiler's catchphrase, spoiler alert, when she goes and kicks some ass?
I don't know what her catchphrase is. I don't think she says spoiler alert.
Well, I disagree. Yeah. I think she should.
Maybe. Okay, so she's on Scream Queens, American Horror Story, Helicopter Mom. Oh my god, these are terrible sounding movies.
Helicopter Mom. Of course.
Yes. Furry Vengeance, The Stepfather.
Furry Vengeance sounds like a 70s porn title.
Yes, it does. But I've not seen her in any of these things. I just chose her because she was at the time I cast her, a younger, good-looking blonde. And she is still a good-looking blonde.
Well, I'm going to say that past Mike was right then.
Yes.
Why not?
Why not?
We're looking for a cute blonde. She meets the criteria.
Yep, there you go. All right, next is Batwoman. She is, at least from what I gather, is a lesbian, and she kind of just comes in into the family. Like, she's not like Batman's like, yeah, come on, come on down, join the family and stuff. Like, she kind of just becomes Batwoman on her own and stuff like that. And it's kind of like Batman's like, who are you? What are you taking my name for?
She just walks on in like a typical woman.
Yep,
taking over the place.
Yeah, but
that bat pussy.
So I don't know too much about the character, but I chose Rachel Scarston. Now, in this picture that I have here, she is not redhead. She's a blonde. And the only thing I know her from is The Birds of Prey, the TV show back in like 2003, based on the Birds of Prey comics, where she plays the Black Canary's daughter. And it's a cheesy show. Most people don't know it or like it.
I was aware of it.
Right. I didn't watch it back then. I bought it on DVD and watched it. And
wow.
Yeah.
What was that? UPN?
Yeah, back when the CW was UPN, or maybe it was just the WB back then.
WB.
Yeah, because it came out right after Smallville. Smallville started in like 01 or 02, and this came out either 02 or 03, whichever one was right after.
WB.
Yeah. Oh, it was so WB. But she was good in it. I thought the cast was actually really good. The girl that plays the Huntress, she was awesome and super hot. What's her name? I can't remember her name, but she played Barbara Gordon, the Oracle, crippled Barbara Gordon. Mm-hmm. She was in Starship Troopers. She was perfect. When she puts on the bat suit, the Batgirl suit, that's Batgirl. Yeah. She's too old to do it now. She was awesome as Batgirl in that show, or Oracle. But Rachel Scarston, I think would be great because she's got a little bit older now, but she's already done superhero stuff. She's done the fighting on that show, and she starts off as like this timid little like, oh, I'm here to find my family or whatever. Like, and then she kind of becomes like this warrior and stuff.
Right.
And so I mean, she's not a bad actress, and I think she'd be good. Just dye her hair red, boom, she's perfect.
Yeah, I'd like to see her kiss a woman.
Yeah, me too.
Why not?
Yep, absolutely. All right, next we have the Black Bat. This is an Asian superhero, and I think she might have came about during the Batman Incorporated, where Batman set up a bat character in every major city.
Right.
He was making Batman a brand, and I think these next two characters, I know the next one after this became that, but I think she might have fell into that category, and I chose Li Fei. I'm not sure if that's the right pronunciation. It's probably not, and I think on IMDb it might be like Fei Li Yi. Like I don't know what, but she was in the Forbidden Kingdom, which we talked about last week.
Yes, we did.
So I think she was the love interest, the good girl. Uh-huh. So it's something I've seen her in. She was good in that. Obviously, she can do martial arts and stuff. So she would be perfect for the Asian Batgirl.
I wish I remembered more about that movie.
Right.
I just remember like the big beats, like
yeah, me too.
Sucked into a kung fu dude or something like that. Like,
this actress Faye was good in that movie. So
yeah,
why not?
Yeah, unfortunately I don't know anything about the Black Bat character.
Yeah, I don't know much about her. I just know
it must have been, was that Grant Morrison doing the
I don't know.
Batman Incorporated? I remember the multiple iterations of Batman.
Yep.
I had like Luchador Batman and
I think she is friends, like the only friend of Spoiler.
Okay.
Like, or Spoiler is her only friend. Like, she feels like an outsider, and she's the only one that she actually talks to. But
yeah, no one wants to be friends with Spoiler. She ruins everything.
I know, she sucks. She spoils it all. Spoils all the fun. But next we have the Batwing. In this, there's been a couple different versions of him, and I think the first version was Lucius Fox's son becomes the Batwing, and then it just became this other character. But I initially had Lee Thompson Young cast, and he was the same guy that I initially cast as Geordi in Star Trek. Then I found out that he committed suicide 2 years ago.
Gotcha.
But I haven't gone back and recast him.
What was he in? He
was the famous Jet Jackson. He played Cyborg on Smallville.
I recognize him from the famous Jet Jackson.
Yeah.
Oh, so he's passed on.
Yeah. So at this point, I haven't recast him.
So, yeah, I'm gonna call that a no-go since he's dead.
Yes, exactly. He is a no-go. But I don't know who else I would get.
See, I don't know anything about, what is it, Batwing?
Yeah. I mean, really all you would need is a young...
What about Billy D. Williams?
Ooh, he's way too
coolest man in the world.
He is the coolest man in the world, but he's far too old. maybe as Lucius Fox.
Donald Glover is the Batwing a silly character.
Yeah, Donald Glover, that could work.
Donald Glover was going to be Spider-Man for a while, wasn't he?
I think, or maybe he's maybe a little too thin. But the kid who played Everybody Hates Chris, the Chris Rock TV show.
Oh yeah.
He's probably like 20-something years old now, 20 at least.
He was a really strong presence on that show.
Yeah, he was on another show with Matthew Perry a couple of years ago, where Matthew Perry was like a sports announcer, where he had his own like sports talk show, and then his wife died, so he was depressed. He took a leave of absence. And he joined a therapy group, and that kid who played young Chris Rock was part of the therapy group. But I think he's on another show now because that show didn't last. But so that kid could do it. I mean, he's a little thin, goofy looking, but
why not?
Yeah, Donald Glover would work.
Yeah, throw some wings on that kid.
Yeah, Michael B. Jordan is a really good actor. He was in Chronicle, Fantastic Four, the one that came out last year.
Right.
Chronicle. Creed. He was in Creed.
Yeah. I haven't seen that yet. I do remember him from Chronicle, though.
Right.
Yeah, he was a great character in that movie.
Yeah, he's a good actor. So
yeah,
I think he's a little too mega mainstream star now to be a supporting character on a show. But
I don't think Chronicle and Fantastic Four qualify as a mega celebrity.
Yeah. Well, I guess you're right because he did do those commercials for like that Black Ops video game or whatever.
I don't think I saw those.
There were commercials for one of those first-person shooter games, Call of Duty or whatever, where it shows like he's amongst the explosions and stuff, and he's just talking about the game. I don't know, but yeah, Michael B. Jordan could work.
Yeah, I like that.
All right, next and finally is Alfred, and I cast Bill Nighy because he's in everything.
Right.
This guy is in everything. He's in Wrath of the Titans. He's in Jack the Giant Slayer. Underworld.
Part 22.
He's in Pirates of the Caribbean. He's in Harry Potter. He's in everything.
Yeah.
But he's an older actor. He's a good actor. And, why not?
Why not?
Yeah, those are just a whim because one night at work I was talking to some friends about him. And I was like, he might as well just play Alfred. He's done everything else. And I was like, hey, that's not that bad. So I went Bill Nighy as Alfred.
Yeah. I think he could do that.
Yeah.
No, Bill Nighy should be fine.
Yeah.
And he's a real actor. Like he's a great character actor.
Oh yeah, he can be zany and silly and serious and menacing.
Yeah. That's a show I'd watch, sir.
All right. Well, that was my fan cast. Let's move into our board game news and spotlight on a board game. So what do you got?
Right. So just a couple things in the news. This week I went like retro. There's a lot of retro stuff coming out.
Okay.
So this year we're going to get Goonies, the adventure card game.
Oh, wow, okay.
Right. So Goonies is a property I never would have thought that they would do a board game on.
Yeah, it's like it's not in the consciousness anymore.
Right. But I think a lot of board game collectors now kind of grew up in that zeitgeist. So this is kind of the perfect storm for marketing that kind of stuff.
Right.
And you'll see in a minute what I'm talking about.
All right.
Like retro is super in right now, just adapting retro properties, turning them into something that people can consume it's valid. Because I'm curious.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to do Goonies. But
it almost seems like it'd lend itself really well to some kind of board game because it's got like, they had to figure out like which key to press. Like there's like puzzles involved in the movie, treasure hunting. And
that's what it's going to be like. It's going to be a co-op board game, which means that everyone who's playing the game is playing against the game.
Right. Okay.
And each person will pick a different character from the Goonies, and you're trying to find
One-Eyed Willie.
One-Eyed Willie's treasure. I kept wanting to say Mad Marty, and it's not.
No,
it's One-Eyed Willie.
Yes.
You're trying to find One-Eyed Willie's treasure while you're avoiding booby traps and fighting off the Fratellis.
I think it's the Fratellis. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you pick one of the characters from the Goonies, and each one is going to have different attributes that you can contribute to the game.
Right, cool.
So I didn't get what quarter that's going to be released, but it will be released sometime in 2016.
Nice. Sounds like an awesome game.
Actually, it'll be available in August at PAX, so it'll probably be out in autumn of 2016.
Okay.
Probably the last part of this year.
Right.
But I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. The next one that's coming out that I thought was interesting was Back to the Future.
Ah.
And it's going to be Back to the Future and Adventure Through Time card game.
Okay.
So this one's not going to be co-op. It's going to be everyone versus each other, trying to get the most victory points. So you're going to have Doc Brown, you're going to have Marty McFly, you're going to have Biff Tannen.
Right.
All characters you can play. I'm not sure who the fourth one is going to be. But you're just trying to arrange the timeline best you can while other people are trying to mess it up and do their own timelines.
Right, while you're trying to mess up theirs.
Right.
Right, sweet.
And so it all kind of interweaves just like the timelines in the Back to the Future movies.
Right.
You know? And I think that'll be interesting. I think that topic really lends itself to gameplay, like fucking with other people's timelines and trying to do your own best you can.
Yeah.
It sounds like a decent game.
Yeah, and I love Back to the Future.
Right.
It's one of my favorite franchises.
I love Back to the Future too. You know, there's a great game out right now called Colt Express.
Okay.
And it's a game where you and everyone else is on a train and you're trying to rob the train. It's
Nice.
everybody versus everybody.
Okay.
But one of the expansions, it's an Old West, train robbery game.
Right.
And one of the expansions is actually the DeLorean
Oh, nice.
that goes on the front of the train.
Cool.
I'm not sure how the expansion works, but it's just like you have an old-fashioned train and a fucking DeLorean.
Nice.
Back to the Future Part 3. Like,
That's sweet.
yeah.
I actually met and got the autograph of Christopher Lloyd last year at Comic-Con.
Excellent.
At the Phoenix Comic-Con, yeah. It was awesome.
I've heard an interview with that guy, and he's just like super chill. Like,
Yeah.
it might be IDW, I can't remember. There's a video on it, but it doesn't announce when it's coming out. This is here 2016, sometime this year.
Okay.
One thing I wanted to get to was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Shadows of the Past.
Oh, wow, okay.
So they just had a very successful Kickstarter. They raised over about $900,000. $900,000. They met all their stretch goals.
Dang.
It's gonna be crazy. It'll be shipping for Kickstarter in July, so we'll probably be getting it at retail in October or so, or sometime in the autumn.
Right.
But it looks really cool. It's got some great mechanics. It's not going to be another zombie side or something like that. One person will take control of the foot, and the rest of the players will play the heroes, the Ninja Turtles. I think Casey Jones and April O'Neil were some of the stretch goals.
Okay.
So it's just player versus player. There's an interesting mechanic. Since it's teamwork, the brothers of the Ninja Turtles, everyone's going to have a dice pool. Your character can borrow from a friend's dice pool if you need to execute a certain action that you don't have a die for.
Ah.
So that's where the teamwork aspect comes in.
Okay.
And I thought that was a really cool mechanic.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, but for the Kickstarter, Kevin Eastman has done the box art for the cover.
Oh, nice.
He's got a video on the Kickstarter. He's really behind the project.
I wonder what he thinks of these new movies that are coming out. He probably hates them.
He doesn't give a shit. He's making money hand over fist.
Yeah, that's true.
He's been beating money out of this dead horse for the past
20 years.
20 years?
Yeah.
Why would he stop now?
Yeah. It's interesting that it's called what is it called?
Shadows of the Past.
Shadows of the Past, because the new movie is called Out of the Shadows.
So
that's kind of interesting.
Well, the minis look great. Everything about it, I'm pretty excited about.
Nice. Yeah, I love Ninja Turtles as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still popular. People still love it. So, a new board game. I mean, they raised $900,000. I mean, that's more than like mainstream movies make their entire stretch, around the globe. Like only so many movies make $1 billion worldwide.
No, not 900 million, 900,000.
Oh, 1,000. Okay, yeah. I was like 900. Yeah, I got 1,000 and really confused. I was like, that is a lot of money for a board game.
But still, 900,000 is a good run for a board game.
Oh yeah, that's a lot of money. Even
And you see that a lot nowadays. They're trying to see what will sell before they produce it. So Kickstarter's a pretty big launch pad for a lot of board games nowadays.
Yeah. A lot of comic books get their starts there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a great way to get things going. It's like, I have this great idea, and if nobody wants to pay for it, then obviously it wasn't a great idea.
Right.
People aren't interested in it, or they are. So yeah, it's a great tool.
It's good to find out if there's money there before you
spend the money.
Before you spend the money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you're not really even spending your money.
Yeah.
Kickstarter is a great thing.
The last thing I wanted to mention, I thought this was kind of interesting. A company called Jasco is going to release a Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, and Dragon Ball Z miniature fighting game in 2017.
Okay.
I have no idea what Jasco has done. I looked them up, and they haven't done a lot.
Okay.
But I am a really big fan of Street Fighter 2.
Yes.
I'm a moderate fan of Mortal Kombat. I couldn't give two shits about Dragon Ball Z. But I think the reason this interested me is because I'm really curious what a fighting game would be like in a miniature platform.
Yeah.
So there's a couple card games. I don't know. I know Dragon Ball Z has one. Street Fighter 2 put out a two-player card game a couple years ago. It was kind of interesting. Not the greatest game, but it had some fun stuff going on for it. So in a miniature format, I'm not sure how that would look. I'm probably thinking it'll look like a Hero Clicks thing.
Right, okay.
That'd be my guess, but I don't know.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see where that's going, and that's about it. Not too much new stuff. I'm just kind of keeping it broad right now. Don't want to go too deep and scare off people.
Yeah, I mean, all those are... the Goonies game actually sounds really awesome.
Right.
That one sounds really fun. The Back to the Future one, I just love Back to the Future so much, so anything that has to do with it sounds fun. And I heard the video game that came out a couple years ago was actually really good.
Oh, yeah?
So...
Well, I think if you go on Board Game Geek, you can see a video of a playthrough of one of the mock-ups for the Goonies board game.
Oh, cool.
You can see what it's all about. And so I wanted to review a board game today. And it's not really board game. I refer to things as board games, but what I'm really talking about is designer games.
Yeah. Board game is a very general term for lots of different things.
Exactly. And so what I'm going to be talking about today is a actual card game.
Right.
And but it'll fall under the category of designer game. And so this is a Love Letter. It's close to my favorite game.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
At least not top 10. It's the game I played the most.
Oh, wow, okay.
So this is a Love Letter by AEG. And there's a million versions of this game. There's Batman Love Letter. There's Adventure Time Love Letter.
Okay.
There's a Christmas Love Letter. There are so many iterations of this game. Munchkin Love Letter. You'll find a version that you like, but they all pretty much play the same.
Right.
And like I said, this is the game I played the most. It's a great, what we call an in-betweener. Right?
Right, okay, yeah.
If you're trying to figure out what you're going to play next, or what you're going to do next, or you're waiting on something, you're waiting on a dinner or whatever, you can bring this game and play it. It's the perfect in-betweener. It takes 15 minutes to about a half an hour. It's portable. It's only like 18 cards. Some of them come in a little velvet bag. You can stick that in your pocket, or if you don't like that, you can just stick the deck of cards in your pocket.
Right.
And it's inexpensive.
Good.
That's one great thing about this game.
Board games are expensive.
Yeah, depending on the board game, they can be expensive.
Yes.
And this game, on average, costs about $12.
Oh, nice. That's not bad at all.
It's the best $12 you'll ever spend. If you can read a card and do what it says, you're good to go.
Right.
So I would recommend maybe 11 and up play this game. It might be a little the rules might be a little fiddly for someone any younger than that.
Okay.
But depending on your child, I in general would recommend 11 and up.
Okay.
But there's nothing too complicated about this game. So like I said, it's only got 18 cards. It's a game of deduction. You're going to start your game with one card. On your turn, you're going to draw one card, and you're just going to play one of the two cards in your hand. As you play your cards, they're going to be laid out on the table in front of everybody, so everyone can see what's been played.
Right.
That's where the deduction comes from.
Yeah, because I've actually played this game with you, and my girlfriend has actually played it at a family reunion before that.
Excellent.
So we all played it together, and she was actually like, "Oh, I've actually played this game before."
Nice.
And each card has a number on it, 1 through 18, right?
Right.
Okay.
So that's how you win the game. It's either you have the highest card at the end of a round, or you're the last man standing.
Okay.
So you can be eliminated during a round. But there's going to be multiple rounds.
Right.
And it's usually, if you're going to play a 4-player game, it's the first person to have the most, to get to 4 wins.
Right.
So yeah, the highest card is the princess card, which is who you're trying to get to, hence the name Love Letter.
Right.
You're trying to get your love letter to the princess. If any action ever causes you to discard the princess, you're out of the round. Right? This is kind of where the deduction comes in. You can see what a person's been holding or not holding. There's also a card, the Baron. So, what the Baron lets you do is compare the card in your hand with someone else's card in their hand. You do this secretly, away from the other players, and the person with the highest card is the winner. Okay. So let's say someone has the Countess, which is the 7 card.
And what's the Baron? What number is the Baron?
The Baron is 5,
okay,
I believe. So you play the Baron.
I show you my Countess.
You show me your Countess, and I have the Princess.
Okay.
So I have the higher card, you're out. Your 7 went out, so
right.
What am I left with? Obviously the 8. This is where the deduction comes in.
Right.
So you have cards, the guard card will let you guess a card in someone's hand, and if you're correct, that person's out of the round.
Okay, yeah.
So there's lots of ways to eliminate other players.
And are the numbers 1 through 8 or 1 through 18?
No, it's 1 through 8. You're going to have multiple cards. There's like 5 guards. Just about 2 of everything else except like King, Princess, Countess. But like I said, if you figure out that I have the Princess, you might get the card that makes me discard her.
Right.
The Prince will make a person discard their card and draw a new card. So, if you were another player in that game, you have your Prince, you know I have the Princess.
Right.
By way of deduction.
Right.
And you make me...
Right, and because when you're discarding cards, like, if all the 1s and 2s are discarded, like, okay, so what's left? There's a few 5s.
Exactly. That's what it comes down to a lot.
Right. Figure out what cards have been played. Okay, those are all the numbers on the table. I know how many 3s there are and stuff like that. So I can deduce that, somebody's got a 7, there's no more 1s to be played, things like that.
Right.
Yeah.
And with only 18 cards to choose from, and you know which ones are your multiples or not, it's not as a heavy deduction game as some other games.
Right, yeah, because I remember when we played it, like, I did something, and because I thought, like, there was one of the characters left, and you're like, well, if you notice, like, they're all been discarded already. I was like, no, damn it.
Right.
Like, yeah,
and that
I wasn't,
a lot.
Yeah, because I wasn't looking at the table.
You'll call someone on a Baron. So you have a Baron with your guard.
Yeah.
You go like, well, there's 2 Barons on the table.
Yeah.
Duh! You just blew your turn. And that's what happens. That's a lot of the fun of the game. In the game, you have the handmaid. The handmaid will protect you for an entire round. Until your next turn, no card can affect you that round.
Okay.
So people will forget that you have a handmaid out. They'll have their guard and they'll call you Countess. And you just shrug your shoulders.
Yeah, I've
got... Oh, the handmaid. Slap the forehead.
Yep.
And you just get into little situations like that. My favorite thing in the game is first round, using my guard card, calling something out on something and nailing it.
Nice, yeah.
You have Priest. What?
Yeah.
But that's okay. There's going to be more rounds. You got knocked out this round. It's a good laugh, but there's more rounds. You still have a chance to win the game.
Right.
And that's just what's great about this game. There's so many nuances, different ways to eliminate people, different ways to figure out what they're holding. And it's quick and easy, portable, and cheap. Yeah. I cannot recommend this game any more highly.
Nice. Love Letter, yeah, I've actually played it. I've enjoyed it. It is just a quick, fun, easy to learn, easy to play game. It's not I have to sit here and explain the rules to you for 30 minutes, and you're not going to remember the first 20 minutes of that. So when we're playing, you're going to have tons of questions as we're playing. It's very easy. It won't take time. Like, beginners can learn this quickly, enjoy it.
Yeah, it's easy to teach, easy to play.
Yes.
This is my favorite version, the Tempest version, which is about getting the letter to the princess.
Right.
But like I said, there's many different versions. You might want to start at the Batman love letter,
right,
which is an excellent adaptation. It pretty much does everything the Tempest version does, except replaces the characters with Batman characters and Batman villains.
Right. Yeah, I think I mentioned it last time, like the skin of a board game doesn't really matter. Like that Goonies game could be something completely different. It doesn't have to be Goonies. It could be Indiana Jones. It could be this. It could be
but why do we want that game? We want that game because it's a Goonies
exactly,
game.
Exactly. Yes. All the games you mentioned, like the nostalgia of the 80s, everyone loves nostalgia. Everyone loves what they grew up on. And certain properties you're drawn towards because it's that property.
Exactly.
If that Goonies game was something else, I'd have been like, oh yeah, that sounds like an okay game. It's like, oh, the Goonies, like that made that. Just knowing what the Goonies is, like that lends itself so well to that type of game and stuff. So I want to play that game now.
Right.
But ultimately, the skin doesn't matter. Like you said, like Love Letter could be a million different things. It doesn't really matter. It's the same mechanics of the game.
Same mechanics, excellent mechanics.
Yes. If the mechanics are good, it doesn't matter what it looks like. All right, well, thanks for listening to the Speak Geek podcast. We are Geekwilibrium. Check us out. We are on Facebook, YouTube, and SoundCloud. That's where we post our podcasts on YouTube and Facebook. YouTube.com/user/MovieMasterMike. I set this up before it became Geekwilibrium. On SoundCloud, it is SoundCloud.com/Geekwilibrium. Of course, we spell Geekwilibrium with 2 L's. Yeah, Facebook.com/Geekwilibrium. And that's going to be the board game one. And there's also the movie one, which is Facebook.com/Geekwilibrium1. So those are the 2 sites. One is going to be only board games, the games that you play, the pictures and mechanics and your reviews and your thoughts on those.
Yeah, I'll start. I've been meaning to do more writing, so I'm going to start doing some more synopsises of the games I've been playing, and you'll be able to see what a little more in depth and what I'm getting deep into.
Right, yeah, and the pictures of what the game looks like and stuff like that. And on the movie side, like I watched The Beach just the other day. I could sit down here and write a little review on it, and so I'm going to start doing that as well, same as your board game side. So you can check us out on those through those avenues. But please listen to us and subscribe to YouTube and SoundCloud. So please subscribe to our channels.
Please subscribe.
Yes. And until then, thanks for joining us, and we are your hosts, Movie Master Mike.
And Tabletop Tim.
And reminding you to speak your geek.
And balance your geek.
With Geekwilibrium.